Welcome back to Sebring, and there you just saw the conclusion of a pit stop. Jörg Mueller on his way out in the BMW, the beautiful Schnitzer BMW. That is the M3 GTR V8 machine. Stalled it for a moment, fired it right back up and on track. And we are still joined by Richard Breckus, the motorsport manager, BMW of North America. And we had a pretty intense discussion earlier, Richard, about the spirit of the rules, in fact, what the rules are, and people's opinions on it. This is a car that does, though, in fact, absolutely meet the rules, and apparently meets them very effectively.
So far, basically under the rules, you can build a special car, basically for racing, as long as you build street versions of it, and they have to be sold on at least 2 continents. So we will build a very limited number of these. I mean, very limited. They'll be very expensive. The experience of most competitors is the ones that are bought, the street legal versions actually end up on racetracks. And what that is, in the spirit of the rules, is basically to be able to create GT cars that really can compete.
You know what I think people tend to forget sometimes? Those Oreca Vipers, they built a GTR version of that, and in that, I mean, they lowered the engine, they moved it back.
Sure.
That was a very limited build, and it was also big bucks, but it was the same kind of a story. That's effectively what you're trying to do, isn't it? Get your package up to par, really.
Pretty much, and we see other competitors in the GT class doing similar kinds of things. For the street, the 6-cylinder is a phenomenal car. We're about to launch the new M3 with 333 horsepower, and it's an unbelievable car. And that is what will be sold as the production car, will be the 6-cylinder. There are no plans to put a V8 in the true production M3.
Now, of course, one of the obvious questions here is, you know, we've seen that this car being campaigned right now by the Schnitzer team. Hit a lock up there on that left front brake going into the turn by the Schnitzer team. But obviously, this engine, this tremendous engine and this new chassis and the like coming out of BMW Motorsport, you can't build them, you know, 10 of them in a hurry here. So obviously the prototype technology group that Tom Milner's team run will be also campaigning this car as well, as soon as all of the numbers are built.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, the plan, there is only one of these cars now, and that's why it's here. This was really designed as a test. It'll be a great test if it comes home to the end, if it finishes. But at the next race in the U.S., which is Sears Point, July 22nd, there will be 4 of these here in the U.S., 2 for prototype technology, 2 for the Schnitzer team. Both teams are treated exactly the same. They get exactly the same support from BMW Motorsport. They'll both have a team of engineers that work with them. We put this together basically because we got tired of having 30 Porsches and 2 BMWs. So we said, okay, let's bring another team. We'll get at least 2 more. That'll be 4 cars. That'll double our chances. So all of this runs under the auspices of sponsorship, if you will, from BMW North America.
Back on point there is the number 42. The BMW is in, Dave.
Yep, and Jörg Mueller stays in for a second stint. Talk about well-known drivers over the years. Another BMW driver out there also staying in for his 3rd stint, by the way, is Stuckey. We just heard that over communication with their pits down here. But anyway, this is the GT leader. Last time they came in, they had a near-perfect stop, but they also have had problems getting off pit lane, stalling the car. You can hear he really revs it up. They've had that problem all day long. He stalled it twice last time. This time he gets out on the first try.
David, and Derek, that's a problem with those rev limiters. That's the one bad part about it, is you got to be on them to lead.
Yes, it is. But while Dave gave us that report, as we see one of the headlights out here, but while Dave gave us that report, again you saw this coordination. The guy with the gun does not pull the safety pin out of the wheel nut. Somebody goes ahead of him, pulls the pin out. He comes then with the gun, takes the wheel nut off. When he puts it back on, another guy comes and puts the safety pin back in. Pure coordination to try and make these even 1 second a lap faster, or 1 second per pit stop faster.
Well, if you're fairly new to watching American Le Mans type racing, keep in mind this is not like Formula One. We've got a limited personnel allowed over the wall. You're allowed only so many people, so you maximize what they can do on the stop. Somebody will do 3 to 4 different tasks to try and set up and get that stop working.
Well, finally they got it fired up, Greg. They put another battery in, as we saw, and that didn't do anything. The lights came on, but not enough juice in that to get it fired up. They got some sort of charging problem within the machine. So just like back in England, if you ran out of sugar, you'd nip next door and borrow a couple of pounds from your neighbor. That's what they did. They went over to the Yoast pit, borrowed a battery, put it in, and fired straight up. So I think they're prepared now. I suspect that on every pit stop, they'll have a battery ready just in case the problem continues.
Factory support of another sort.
I'm very surprised some of that telemetry hasn't told them that already.
Yeah.
You think something would be telling on that.
The way it is dark now you really begin to rely on the lights, and you can see
The locks in front, you have a flat spot and you have to pit.
Looks like fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
I tell you, I haven't seen Dorsey this lit and energetic and smiling about life and a ride for a long time. It's been a good couple of years for him.
No, but I will tell you something. He's talking about having rear brake bias.
You got one under your belt already at Mexico. How did the weekend go? What are you looking forward to this year?
Oh, it was fantastic. You know, the full series is outstanding. Great teams and drivers. CART has a fabulous organization in terms of the people that really work to run that show, and you know, it's just good to be part of such a great team.
Good luck with that, mate. We're going to miss you.
Thanks, man.
The way he passed the buck there, he can still be plenty much like a racer and not a steward, I think. That was very good.
At least he'll have heard all the answers when he asks the questions.
Very true.
Yeah, look at the BMW here. What a disadvantage this thing has now, just with one eye on the front. Left-hand side, right side has been dead for quite a few hours. So that is not, look, I mean, look at it behind here. Cannot light the right side of the road. That will give him some problems, particularly when he goes down to some of these dark right-handed apexes.
At least it's on for turn one.
Yeah. You want me to do a couple of quick emails?
Do a couple quick emails.
Okay, love the coverage. This is Mark Waite from Staten Island. Why the flames out of the exhaust of the braking zone? Unburned fuel gets lit by the exhaust. Boom, you see the explosion. Second one is Holly. Holly didn't give us her second name, but her email address is sensualchick@aol.com. In such a male-dominated sport, has there been any female GT drivers? I know women have their own circuit with the Panos, but are they allowed to drive in these endurance races? Absolutely. Claudio Hurtgen started this event. She was in the one of the Lola P67 cars. Milka Duno is another female who will race very shortly in the American Le Mans Series races. So yes, absolutely, door wide open for females or Irishmen or Englishmen or anybody.
Right, pretty the better, if I may say so.
Yes.
Actually, Bob Varsha just whispered into my ear over 3 dozen women racers in here and over the years, and including Janet Guthrie had such a great run in Indy. Has 2 class wins as well. So superb story there as well. And of course, sensualchick.com.
But actually, that's in terms of the races, but in the time spent on the racetrack, it is spent here at Sebring. And of course, many of these competitors will go and run at the 24 Hours of Le Mans as well.
Look at Stefan Johansson and his Gulf liveried Audi R8, currently shown in 4th place behind Laurent Aiello and Emanuele Pirot in the 2 Infineon R8s, the 2 factory cars. Now here's the battle in the GT class for 2nd place. The GT runners all very close together. In fact, I believe these cars are on the same lap as the class leader. And Jörg Mueller, the yellow headlights are the Porsche 911 GT3 RS from the Alex Job team. And right there, you get a good look of the blue and white BMW. Now, these teams have been going at it like this all day long. The BMW seems to have it on speed. The Porsche has the advantage on fuel mileage, so the Porsche will take the lead on the stops. The BMW will then catch him, stop again. The Porsche will take the lead, and so on.
Well, and it's been that way, as you said, Bob, from the very beginning. The BMW, which, keep in mind, this car is brand new. This is the debut event for this particular V8-powered M3. It's not a totally developed car yet, far from it, as a matter of fact. So they are not doing nearly as well as the Porsches on fuel economy right now, to the tune of about 4 or 5 laps less on each tank of fuel. And to make up that time is really a daunting task. And they've been doing, to this point, they've been doing a great job of it. But it's just, you know, it really is deflating if you're a driver to have to get in the car after all that hard work and be right back where you were and have to march your way back through.
And keep in mind, the Schnitzer BMW teammates are just 2 drivers, Jörg Mueller and JJ Leto, while the Porsche team has a crew of 3. And that can really make a difference over the course of the day. Down in the pit lane, Calvin Fish is standing by with a man hoping to make history. Yes, when it gets dark here at Sebring, it gets very dark. Now there's the number 6, climbing out is Hans Stuck, wearing the Hans device, head and neck supporting device. It's become so popular in the wake of the tragic accident that befell Dale Earnhardt on the last lap of the Daytona 500.
And actually, Bob, we've had a number of emails asking about the Hans device. There are a limited number of drivers wearing it here because it is a little bit more difficult in terms of doing the driver changes. There's no question about that. But the Hans device, especially with the most recent events, you know, there's a lot of attention on it, and the development continues, and it's only going to become easier to use. And really, you know, we're not that far away from almost all of these sanctioning bodies making the Hans device mandatory because it's just common sense.
No question about it. Manufactured by Jim Downing, developed by Dr. Bob Hubbard, Jim's brother-in-law. And they tell us that they have sold more of those devices since Dale Earnhardt's accident than they did in the previous 15 years of the device's existence.
Well, as a matter of fact, Jim Downing was going to try and come to Sebring, but he couldn't come here and race because they've been in production with the Hans device up in his Atlanta shop.
So Hans Stuck has climbed out, the only active three-time winner of this race. He may be joined by Tom Christensen of the Audi team tonight. That story has yet to play out. We'll take a break and return to talk to Stuckey. Welcome back live to Sebring International Raceway for the 49th running of the Exxon Superflow 12 Hours at Sebring. Bob Varsha along with Jeremy Dale, joined by Alan DeCadenet. Down in the pit lane, Calvin Fish and Andrew Marriott. We're coming up, in fact, just passing 8 p.m. Eastern Time, leaving us with about 2 hours and 38 minutes to go in this 12-hour sports car classic. The attendance numbers total 170,000 admissions over the 4 days of this weekend event, and that is an all-time high for one of the world's most popular sports car events. Let's get down to the pit lane and Andrew Marriott.
Hans Stuck first won this race 21 years ago. Hans Stuck, yes, you first won the race 26 years ago. You won it twice more. What about this year?
Yeah, I mean, you see it, 26 years pay their role, you know. Here is nothing in here and left more, but still it doesn't mean long distance race. Still enjoy very much, especially as a BMW driver. I've got a very good car to do it, and as we still have the old car here with the straight 6 engine, we just need to do points. As we finished third in Texas, we want to shuffle points, and from July, with a new engine, we're back in the hunt.
Back in the hunt. How is Hans Stuck getting on with the Hanford device, with the Hans device?
I think this is a very good thing. I think it makes no sense not to use it. As soon as in the car, you forget about it. We're protected for side accidents, for the back, but not for frontal ones. And I wish Dale Earnhardt would have had it. Maybe would have had survived. I'm happy I have it. And also John Gosling is happy too.
Very good. Okay, then, well, Hans Stuck, he's always a great interview, isn't he, guys?
No question about it.
John Gorsline, by the way, is Hans' insurance agent, so that keeps all of the insurers quite happy. But as I said before, it makes perfect sense, and I really think it's only a matter of time before just about every form of professional racing requires a device like the Hans device.
Don't forget, you can email us live here on our Speed Vision broadcast. Just dial us up at Sebring at speedvision.com or get on speedvision.com, our webpage, and click on the link. We've had just literally thousands of terrific emails. We appreciate every single one of them.
You made a very good point there, Hans. Why not wear it? I mean, someone's taken the trouble to invent this thing which might save your life. You'd be foolish not to give it a whirl. Try it out. when it saves your life, you'll be glad you had it on.
Absolutely. There's the number 42 BMW. That car currently shown 9th overall and now 2nd in GT. The car just behind is the number 22 Porsche in the hands of Christian Menzel. A great GT battle, and just ahead, about half a minute up the road, is Emmanuel Collard in the class leading McKenna Porsche from Alex Job Racing. At the bottom of your screen, you're watching our eSlam speed line. You send us a particularly good email, put it on. Of course, that doesn't mean suck up, just make an interesting point.
That was an interesting point that went by underneath there, that Sebring would not be the same if it was all smoothed out.
Well, that's true, isn't it?
Make it like a pool table, it wouldn't be the same thing at all, would it?
We had an email earlier in the day, a viewer asking, did they make it that bumpy deliberately just to increase the challenge? Now there's the number 42 that's been brought in from 2nd place in GT. This is an example of what we were talking about earlier. The new 4-liter V8 Schnitzer BMW is a bit quicker than the 3.6-liter flat 6 Porsche 911s, but it does use more fuel. We have a bit of a drag race to the end of the pit lane with one of the Vipers. And Alan de Cadenet in the announce booth. Andrew Marriott and Calvin Fish are on pit lane with about 90 minutes to go in the 49th running of this great event. But as I said, it remains to be seen. Now here's the number 42, Jörg Mueller in the cockpit, contending in the GT category. Currently shown in 3rd place, behind a pair of Porsche 911 GT3 RSs.
And this car was in 2nd place until this stop in its class in GT, and they continue, as we've already documented, they've been quicker on the racetrack, not quite as good on fuel, and so they've been stopping more, and that has been really hurting them. And it looks like we've got a brake pad change happening on the front of this M3.
As we said earlier, it's been a seesaw battle between the Alex Job Racing Porsche 911s and this car. This car seems to have the legs on them, but they go farther on fuel. He's asking him to straighten the wheel, I think, or turn it so that they can get a better grip.
Hold it straight.
Yeah, they've got a problem.
Well, they can't get that brake pad out.
No, they may have gone, I hope they haven't gone right down to the metal backing plate and had a bit of a weld up going on, because then that's just an impossible task. But that looks very stubborn, an obstinate pad. Ah, here it comes.
There we go.
Good man.
Now, this is where you put this device in. This will push all 6 of those pistons back at the same time, but you have to coordinate with the mechanic on the other side. He's saying, no, 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 not yet, not yet. They give each other the nod.
There they go.
And they can both push at the same time. Now all the brake fluid flows out of that brake caliper back up into the reservoir. You've created the space you need to get those new brake pads in. And now once those are in, it's critical that the driver gets his foot on the brake pedal and pumps up those brakes to get to close up those clearances that exist right now.
Yeah, we've seen several drivers go out the end of the pits forgetting to do that. They go straight on into the first wall they come to. That happened at Le Mans once to John Nielsen in the McLaren F1. He had carbon fiber, had carbon discs, and he didn't realize it because he had to pump them like mad to get some heat up.
Right.
He went straight off at the Dunlop curbs on the first lap out the pits in Thomas Boucher's car and didn't do it any good at all.
They work up around 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And he's completing the process.
Well, I think this will have really spoiled their chances for a class victory here. I mean, they absolutely were in contention, and unless these 2 Porsches now that are in front of this BMW run into some trouble, I think.
Sure to make it to the end, and it's okay. We keep them under control, and we will make it.
Speaking of brakes, let's get down to Andrew quickly.
I was going to tell you about the brake problems with the BMW. They did have a problem with the right front, sorting out that change of brake pads, but they did fix it, and just as you came to me, it disappeared in a cloud of tyre smoke, and obviously that car is now heading towards the finish of the race. JJ Leto climbed out, your Muller got in, and I think it's been a very good debut for this V8 car. Doesn't look as if it's going to win the class, but make sure this car is very competitive indeed.
Gentlemen, is anyone surprised they left Jörg Mueller in the car rather than sticking Lato in, as long as they had the opportunity during the long brake pad change?
Well, no, I thought what Andrew said there is that Lato had just gotten out. They just did a driver change there.
Okay. So I would guess they're going to trust Jörg Mueller to take the car the rest of the way with a stop to go. Maybe more.
Of course, versions of this car have won this race overall. 934s, 935s.
Back when those were the class of the field. Lucas Luhr on the driving strength of this team. We talked to him earlier here in an announced position. This will be his second straight win at Sebring, which is a pretty astonishing performance. Jörg Mueller at the controls of that 4-liter V8 BMW M3 GTR. Welcome back as the celebrations continue down in Victory Lane here at Sebring. Let's take a look at our Audi final results. Of course, these are unofficial, pending tech inspection and so forth, but an amazing performance once again from Audi. Last year, a 1-2 with 2 factory cars. This year, a 1-2-3-4 with 2 factory and 2 privateer machines. Final margin of victory, 0.682 seconds, the closest ever for the overall win here at Sebring. In the GTS category, the margin 1 lap for the Celine over the Corvette, and in GT, Sascha Maassen beat teammate Randy Pobst by 1 minute 21.583 seconds. An amazing race.